Well, good morning. Today I'm coming to you from windy Ocean City, Maryland, where I've been privileged to spend the last 3 days at our district conference. Our district conference is a time every year where we get together as a grouping of churches to worship, to learn, to see what God is doing in and around us. It's been a good time, but as I was here at the beach and being able to take some time there, it caused me to reflect. As I was standing on the beach the other day, I think it was Monday night, I was looking out over the water, and as most of the time when you're at the beach and you look at the ocean out in front of you, it's fairly flat, it's fairly uniform, it's fairly ordinary. But as I did, all of a sudden, a couple hundred yards offshore, there was a whole pod of dolphins that I began to see, began to play. They were fishing, they were doing a little bit of jumping, and a lot was going on. They probably know where the fish are, they can sense where they are. And it got me reflecting about what life around us, both individually and like a church, is. I think a lot of times we look at our life and life just goes on. It's ordinary, we have the same waves, the same look, the same expanse, and we miss what God is doing underneath the surface. God is always at work, He's always doing lots, but it's not always obvious. And every once in a while, we get to see a glimpse of or a really good look at what God is doing, and it's exciting and it's amazing. I wonder sometimes if we had that perspective, we'd be a little more encouraged as we go along, because the apparent inactivity of God or the things that don't seem to change, it's not really true. God is at work. And so as I was reflecting about that with our church and the things we're doing in the years ahead, now at the 1 year mark here at Atlanta Road Alliance Church, it struck me that God has been preparing long before I was ever here, before you were here, and He'll be continuing to do this in the years ahead. And our job is simply to continue to be alert for what He's doing and to engage in the things that He's called us to do. And so as a church, there's really two things. We recently did a brainstorming session about how God might want us to engage with our community in the kingdom and so on. And we really broke this whole brainstorming list down into two categories. One are events. There are certain events that we can do as a church where we can engage with our community, whether it's through one of the established community things like Riverfest or something like that, or if we do something on our own. We as a church could probably only do 2 or 3 of these events a year and do them well. They take a lot of resources and energy and time, and so we're going to be focusing on 2 or 3 of these in 2022. But alongside of that are the ministries, the things that we would do on an ongoing basis, ways that we can be known or that we can engage in the work of the kingdom. Not necessarily knowing what God is doing underneath the surface and what He's preparing, but in faith, stepping out and trying it, and then seeing God as He shows Himself through the changing in people's hearts, minds, attitudes, bringing them into the kingdom. So my encouragement to you this week is, as you look at your life, as you see the ordinary waves and you feel the wind and you look out over the expanse of your life and it seems like it's just very ordinary and very routine, know that God is at work, that He's doing things deep under the water that have a lot of impact. And as a church, embrace what we do. And as we set up the events and the ministries, that we want to give it a try to see where God might be at work underneath the deep, that you would be a part of that together. I look forward to the next time that we chat, and in the meantime, have a great week. See you then.